Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of A Comfortable Truths. I'm recording in my car because it's kind of fake windy outside and I did not want to sit outside and just be cold. In today's video, I'm talking about deliverance. Okay, y'all, so I have notebooks here in front of me if I'm looking down because I kind of needed to guide me in the video. So deliverance, what does it mean when God delivers you? So to be delivered is to be set free, and that can be from a person, a job, a friendship, a situation, whatever it is that's going on in your life. God will deliver you from it. And that can be when God rescues his people, us, from a situation, from troubles, from distress. I want to talk about this because it's kind of a part of my testimony. Obviously, what led me up to my testimony was being delivered from my past. And my past can include all things of myself, self-sabotage, being misunderstood, sin, fear, anxiety, depression. All of those things God truly has delivered me from in the span of just a month. And everything after that was me working on being delivered. It's not easy, guys. I feel like people think that following God is easy, but it's really not. As a Christian, or whatever it is that religion you follow, I'm a Christian, but as a Christian or as a follower of Christ, let me say that, you honestly need to ask yourself, following God, do I go through trials and tribulations? Because following God isn't just, oh, I follow him today and my life will be perfect every day after that. No, if you're not going through things in your life following God, something is wrong. Something is wrong. So I just want you to ask yourself, look at every aspect in your life and really deeply look into everything and ask yourself, what is it in my life that God is trying to show me? What fruit is he trying to bear in my life? Because as followers of Christ, we don't look at this. We think that, we're going through all these things. Why? Why is it that my life is so bad, but I follow God? That is the very answer, y'all. Because we follow Christ, the devil wants to bring you down. He wants to pull you away from God and bring you to this life that's only temporary, that none of it doesn't matter. Okay, and when we separate ourselves from this life that we've attached ourselves to, it's going to be hard breaking free from that, because it's comfort, it's control, and it's the obligation of knowing what our life would be like every day, choosing these things that don't really matter. Because when you really put God in your life first, you don't know what the future holds. And it's a scary thought when you're someone who always wants control, or who needs to know what's happening the next day. Yes, I have goals and I have things that I want to accomplish, but I do it as I go. It's not just something that I set a timeline on God, because when you follow Christ, there is no timeline. Everything happens the way it's supposed to. Like, I know I'm talking to someone out there. I know there's someone out here that listens to my podcast and is wondering and questioning their life. Okay, y'all, when God is delivering you, when there's a sudden shift in your life that's making you feel like you just need to go, or it's just alerting you that something in your life right now is not right, pay attention to this feeling. In this moment, you need to pay attention, because this is God trying to tell you something. This is God trying to tell you, this is him calling on you right now to free yourself from whatever it is that you're going through, because you're about to choose a life that's going to bring you down. God is literally watching you choose a life that's going to pull you away from him. And y'all, I know sometimes it's hard realizing when God is trying to call on you, but your body, your heart, your mind will tell you. Some signs that you can look forward to when experiencing this is you just don't feel like you belong. You just can literally feel like, what am I doing here? Like, this is not me. The things that I'm thinking, the way that I'm feeling is not me. God is trying to tell you that you're not losing yourself, but you're choosing a path that's not of Him. And y'all, really pay attention to these signs, because He's trying to deliver you. He's trying to rescue you and save you from whatever it is that you're about to choose that's going to bring you back, that's going to make you go backwards, okay? And it's a scary feeling. It's scary to experience this, because sometimes we don't realize what's happening. We don't understand why it's happening to us. But believe me when I say, the second you agree, the second you devote yourself, the second you surrender yourself to choosing that moment in your life when you decide to follow Christ and give your life to Him wholeheartedly, not just 50-50, everything will change for the better. Everything that you ever wanted in life will start to flow and come to you without you even needing to work for it. And when yes, you still need to work for the things you want, but I mean, without having to go hard to be a slave to this world. When something is truly for you, you don't have to go 100 folds just to make it prosper for you. God will make it prosper for you because it's meant for you. What's meant for you, you don't have to chase, you don't have to beg, you don't have to over explain for. It'll just work for you. It'll make sense. It'll fit in your life as it's supposed to. So when I say, the moment you decide to choose God in your life, prepare yourself for what's about to happen, because it's not going to be easy. But when you go all the way through with God, I promise it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it, okay? Because before I was delivered, I was 50-50 God. 50-50 God. I was 50% God, 50% in my flesh. And because of that, I would prioritize God, but I will also prioritize myself. And as a follower of Christ, yes, you can prioritize yourself, but God is first in everything. Not just some, not just here and there, everything. With anything and everything that you do, God is first, and that includes yourself, okay? When you put God first, everything about you will be a representation of that. Everything about you will flow from that. And why would you want yourself and who you are to flow from anything else that's temporary, that's negative, that you don't even know if it'll prosper for you? You don't even know if it'll actually work out for you. Once you follow God, you're choosing and believing that He's the author of your life, so you have no choice but to win. You have no choice but to receive what is for you. You have no choice but to go all the way through with Him, because God is eternal. God is forever. This world, the riches of this world is not forever. All of it is temporary. All of it is just to lead you and pull you away from God, because the devil does not want you to win. He doesn't want you to be your best self. He wants you to be stuck in a present moment that won't even last forever. Why do you want to choose that? Why do you want to choose that for yourself? You should always want the best for yourself, and that's God. So understand this when I tell you, you are not of this world. You're just in it. Okay? I'm going to say this one more time. You're not of this world. You are just in it. That's why, as a human, as a follower of Christ, it is important that you protect your soul. Your soul is the answer to all of this. Your soul is what you're longing for. You think you're longing for money, for love, for clout, for new clothes, for whatever it is that you're longing for. You think that's what the answer is to all of it, but it's not. You're longing for yourself. That version of you is waiting for you to just show up for yourself. It's waiting for you to just be there for yourself, to protect yourself, to stand on your boundaries, to follow through with the things you keep saying you're going to do. It's you who you're waiting for. It's not him, her, your boyfriend, your ex, your mom, your dad. It's not that relationship. It's not that job, that career. It is you. God is waiting for you to wake up and choose him, because the second you choose him is the second you choose yourself. Like, are you understanding what I'm saying? The second that you realize this life is out of our control is the second you will realize that it was never us that was consciously making these decisions to get to where we need to get to, or that we think because we're doing this and that we're getting somewhere in life. No, it was never us. It was always God. But sometimes we're too stuck in our ways to realize that he has been calling on us to just listen to him, to just accept him in our life so that we can receive and win. So why do you keep going back to this life, to these people, to this thing that God has already delivered you from? Why do you keep going back to a version of you that doesn't exist anymore? When we keep deciding to go back to that person, to go back to that relationship, that friendship, that job, whatever it is that we think we need so desperate from our past life, you're changing the course of your life. You're changing the course of your life because when you keep going back, it pushes you further away from the future version of you that's waiting for you. That's just waiting for you to become. That's waiting for you to show up and realize that it was always you that was stopping yourself from being this version of yourself that you know you can be. Understand when I say this. That vision that you have, that feeling in your heart that you know you will become something, is because that version of you in the future already has it. So why do you think if you just go back to this, if you keep working on this, if you try to give this thing closure, that it'll change, that your life would just become better, that you can finally move on? No, for what? It already happened. That version of you, that situation, it already happened and it doesn't need you anymore. God already gave you the permission to move on, to let go. Even if it didn't happen how you wanted it to, how you thought it was supposed to happen, it doesn't matter because everything happens the way it's supposed to. But Proverbs chapter 20 verse 30, sometimes it takes a painful experience to make us change our ways. This goes back to how I was saying that when we're being delivered, it's honestly a feeling that I can't even explain. Like, you have to live it to understand what I'm saying. Being delivered feels like grief, like you're grieving your own self. And do you know what it means to grieve your own self when you're very well alive? Going through it is worth it. The only way I can label it is an ego death, but I will get into that in a different video. But for right now, I feel like the best lessons I've learned was from the most painful emotions I've ever felt. Truly, when I say this, I've learned myself when I was at my lowest. I probably became my best self when I was at my lowest, coming from my lowest. Like, no funny, anything good in life, anything that you want to prosper, anything that you want to succeed in, you have to go through the bad first. Nothing good will become what it is unless you learn the bad parts of it. Understand that, okay? Understand to take time with yourself and with whatever it is that you want to become good, because nothing good rushes. Nothing good comes from fastness and quickness. Everything that's good and perfect comes from taking time. So when you're going through this, take that time with yourself. Appreciate this time to learn who you are, Learn who God is. Understand why this is happening for you, because things aren't just happening to us on purpose. They're happening for you because there's a greater understanding that God is trying to teach you something. God is trying to show you something about yourself that you clearly can't see, choosing this life, this world that wants nothing but the worst for you. So when you're going through this, really take the time to understand why it's happening and gain something from it. Gain that knowledge, that patience, that love, that kindness, that self-control. Ask yourself, what fruit is this trying to grow within me? Because the words of God are always growing. I'm talking to someone. I know whoever is watching this video is going to resonate with what I'm saying. And I put that on the Bible. So, sometimes it takes a painful experience to make us change our ways. What does this mean? Not everything God takes away is because he's going to replace it with something better. Let me say that one more time. Not everything God takes away from us is because he's going to replace it with something better. Sometimes it's to reveal the consequences of putting someone or something above God. It's a wake-up call, not a reward. Are you listening? When God is taking something away from us, it's not always because he's trying to replace it with something better. It's because he's trying to save you. He's trying to call on you. He's begging you. He's begging you to not choose that life that's going to bring you to hell. Like, guys, please, I'm talking to someone. I'm talking to that version of myself that thought if I was with that boy, I would have been the happiest person in the world. I'm talking to the version of myself that thought if I stood working in that place, I would have been rich right now. I'm talking to the version of myself that thought if I continued hanging around those people, I would be the girl with all the friends. No, there's someone God is trying to call on to show you that you're choosing a life that's going to lead you to self-destruction. Listen to what I'm telling you. Okay? Suffering may be a warning to avoid future sin because it builds character. This painful experience that you're going through is going to change your heart, your mind, and soul if you allow it to. You can only allow to affect you when you make that choice to. Okay? Because sometimes you can go through something, but it doesn't mean that you have to give it life to make you upset. It doesn't mean that you have to give it life to not want to love the next person. It doesn't mean that you have to give it life to change your heart. You can go through something and let it teach you that you don't want to go through that again. That you don't want the next person that you want to be in a relationship with to treat you like that again. That you don't want to devote yourself to a job that doesn't care about you. It just, like, you get where I'm going with it. Like, it's building this discipline within you to prevent you from creating the decisions that you used to create, to now knowing what you know and moving with wisdom and moving the way God wants you to. So this thing that God is delivering you from, he's trying to stop you from choosing a future that's going to lead you to self-destruction. Tie your healing to the faith that God is working in the greater within you. That it doesn't matter what happens to what that person did to you, if they get revenge, if they regret it. Don't worry about that. Worry about the part you play in your life, because people are going to do what they want to do. But worry about what God is trying to pull you away from and is trying to teach you in that moment. God knows everything. And do you know how blessed and protected you have to be for God to literally pull you out of a situation because he knows that you can't? Come on, y'all. Tell me that's not God. That's God, bro. I wholeheartedly can feel for people who cannot leave because of how much you love someone. I can feel for you, bro. I was there. But do you know how grateful I am to know that God loves and cares about me so much that he took me out of this situation because he saw that I was about to choose a life that was not of him? Come on, y'all. Come on. God will literally let you experience everything you thought would satisfy your soul just to show you that it doesn't. He literally let me experience this love that I thought I needed so bad just to show me that this is not what I need. What I need is God. What I need is to be there for myself. And by being there for yourself is choosing God, because God is the only one who knows you. God knows you. He knows your heart, mind, and soul. He knows you, not this person that you're so in love with that one day loves you and the next day treats you like you're nobody. Not that person. Not that person who says they love you but disrespects you the next day, that makes you feel confused, that makes you wonder what is happening between us. Why can't we just have a good day? Not that person. God never switches up on you. God is the same from the beginning to the end. And you're about to choose a life that's not of that. You're choosing a life that's not certain, that's not true, that's not honest, that's not the same through and through as in good and bad. God is the same, good and bad. He never switches up. So why are you about to choose a life that you don't even know what holds for you? God knows what holds for you. And honestly, I would highly recommend reading the book of Job, because the book of Job is about a man whose faith was tested. And just read the book, and I promise, come back to this video and it will make so much sense to you. I know that when you lay your head at night, you're asking yourself, what am I doing with myself? There's this deep void that you keep filling inside of you because you keep filling it with things that have no real meaning. There's no real intent. You have to be intentional with your life because you're important. Your life is important, and these things that you keep running to are not important. There's no real depth behind it, but just that. All right, y'all, this is the last thing I'm gonna say because my phone has no storage and it keeps stopping. And so the last verse I wanted to touch on is Genesis chapter 19 verse 26. It says, "But Lot's wife looked back and she became a pillar of salt." What does this mean? It means that her heart was still tied to what God has delivered her from, and she became salty. She became salty because she keeps looking back at that person. She keeps looking back at her old self. She keeps looking back at what she has. She keeps looking back at that past life that God has already delivered her from. Why can't you just let go? What is it deep inside you that won't allow you to let go? And you know what I think it is? I think it's not forgiving yourself. I don't know if this is everyone, but speaking from personal experience, a lot of the times a big reason as to why I can't let go of situations is because I haven't forgiven myself. I'm a really hard person on myself. Like, I'm so hard on myself, and when I do something that's not of me, when I do something that's against myself, I can't let it go until I really realize that it's okay to make mistakes. I have to accept that it's okay. When I'm that far into something, that's when I'm really praying and really trying to tell myself that it's okay. But I haven't had a situation like that in a very long time. So I'm doing good. I'm doing good on standing on business. But for not knowing earlier, only what time can teach you. You have to forgive yourself for that version of you that made decisions based on survival, that made decisions based on protection, that made decisions just out of the strength of love. You have to forgive yourself, okay? Because all is not lost. And I have to tell myself the same thing sometimes. Sometimes when I make a mistake, I feel like it's the end of the world because this is not me. Like, this is not who I am. And I'm not going to say that I'm perfect because I'm not. I make mistakes too. You have to choose yourself no matter what, no matter how hard it is, no matter how crazy it feels to choose yourself. You have to choose yourself. I can say with my chin up, with the utmost confidence, that there's girls out here and people, not just girls, men and females, that do not choose themselves. And I'm not just saying like in a relationship or whatever you think choosing yourself is. That's not what I mean. I mean, you have to stand on your boundaries. You have to stand on your self-respect. You have to stand on what's best for you in anything that you do. In anything that you do, you have to stand on what you say, because people are expecting you to fold. And when I tell you that I make it a mission to be my best self, you have to choose yourself. That feeling that you're longing for is choosing yourself. And that starts with forgiving yourself, because you have to know that the decisions you made before is not who you are. You have time to save yourself and become who you were always meant to be. I promise you when I say this, I promise you, I've made choices in my life that were not of me, and I felt like I failed myself. But I took my problems to God and I let it go because it's out of my control. It's out of my control. And I've allowed myself to refine myself, but still be myself. Because I'm not completely gone. I will always be me, but I will always be me with a higher understanding of what I want and what I don't want. And because of that, use that as your guide to be your best self. You have to know who you are in order to win. If you don't know who you are, there's going to be people trying to tell you who you are, and you're going to get lost. You're going to get lost. So truly, when I tell you, when you experience this deliverance, you have to accept it wholeheartedly. You cannot be 50-50, because the challenges you are about to experience is going to be hard. But I promise you, God is only teaching you the only way out is through, and that's with Him. So this is the end of today's episode. That was a lot. That was a lot, but a lot as in that was good. I did really, really good. I'm proud of myself. But this is the end of today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it just as much as I did. And I will hear from you guys next Sunday. Bye.